Let's see how the defining range did today. So the defining range is based on the last 2/3 of quarter one. If you don't want to plot these lines yourself, then you can use my indicator and I'll link that below. So if you plotted these yourself, you would just use a Fibonacci tool with these settings. Screenshot that if you want, and then you'd plot it out yourself. Now I've got this indicator that you can add alerts to let you know when the upper or lower bounds were hit. So this defining range, I kind of call this the origin of the defining range. This comes from quarter one. And if we progress on, let's see kind of how it did today, September 30th on a Tuesday. All right, so after the Asian range, we don't see sequential SMT unless potentially it was with YM. We have NQ on top, ES on the bottom. Let's move forward. Okay, now we've hit the bottom portion of the defining range. We have yesterday's low that was taken by both ES and NQ in the same candle. And let's go ahead and mark out yesterday's high while we're here. Yesterday's high on NQ and yesterday's high on ES. And ES yesterday's low. Okay, so we don't have weekly sequential SMT, but we do see that the lower bounds of the defining range, this is quite normal. If you see these targets are hit early on, especially in the London session, potentially you're going to see a pushback unless you have a bearish trend day. And this is what we see. We see some pushback. Now, take profits potentially could be when you're coming back into the defining range, unless you are bullish on the day, then potentially you could wait until the Asia high is taken or the upper range is achieved. So let's carry on and see how we do. All right, don't really see any sequential SMT to note yet. Still don't. Now we're in a bearish FEG here. Let's keep carrying on. We're in the same on ES, so it's very what's the word for it? This is symmetrical, right? We don't have unsymmetrical price action. We have symmetrical price action. Okay, ES dropped down quite a bit. Okay, now we have some SMT, potentially signaling a push up. This, I'm not sure on the sequential portion of this, if this is sequential SMT. Let's see. Yeah, potentially it is. So we have basically daily cycle sequential SMT. What this is showing that ES is stronger. Okay, and let's carry on and see how we did. Oh, we did one more push down. Now, if you see here, this is another SMT, not a sequential SMT, but you have candle to candle sequential. No, it's not sequential at all. So this is not SMT that I was thinking of. So let's delete that. Carrying on. Okay, now it looks like we have some SMT. So here it's showing that NQ is stronger. So potentially while ES is dipping under this low, potentially this could have been like a 90-minute cycle, most likely sequential SMT that gave you this. So while ES is getting under this low, you could look for something like inversion fair value gaps to get into. And then it looks like NQ hit the high. Maybe it's going to make another SMT. Yeah, no, kind of. So both kind of hit the high, but there is a SMT beforehand, maybe signaling some topping. Carry on. And it did seem that there's more SMT here, potentially bottoming, showing. NQ is still stronger. Let's keep going. Yep, so in potentially some PD array down here, you could have looked for purchasing or a new IFEGs showing strength or recovery after ES hit down under this low like a turtle soup. And let's carry on, see how the rest of the day went. So this is noon. Now we're in the New York PM session. All right, so now they're SMT. So ES is now taking the top, and NQ is showing weakness. So that's a place where now if ES is getting over the top and NQ doesn't, potentially you should be taking some profits if you're on NQ longs. Okay. Not really seeing much SMT right now. A little bit. So these lows versus this low. This isn't daily cycle, but you do see some asymmetrical price action, right? So you have some SMT divergence, probably just a regular one. With these lows and these lows. Now ES is showing to be stronger. Let's see if that proves right, if ES can make a bounce here. Okay, it does. Quite a bounce. All of it's recovering. Now ES took another high. Potentially, if you are long, you might want to either take profits on NQ, because we're not quite sure if we're going to get over this. But let's keep going. Now at this point, it's 2:30 in the afternoon. Okay, NQ does take the high, kind of loops back around. ES is quite stronger. So NQ comes back down, it comes back up. There's some SMT here. So NQ is definitely the weaker one, but still is a long, right? Still bullish. There's nothing indicating that it's pulling back quite so much. If you were attempting short here, then you would have got stopped out over here. And ES just is really strong at the moment. Keep going. Okay, now at this point on this candle, this is where my last long I took profit. I was aiming for this portion of the defining range, but I had to take profit strictly at 200 ticks, and I took profit there on my last contract. But yeah, it did end up getting both sides. So we got down here in the bearish side of the defining range, which ends up being like a quite buoyant area. And then we got to the bullish target in the top of the defining range, which ended up being a really cool play in the PM session. So basically, PM session looks like it was a little manipulation play, a little dip and then a rip. So most likely we had, if we want to look at what was it this day, like AXMD, something like that, potentially this looks like Asia was quite accumulative, then potentially London looked quite bearish, maybe accumulation, distribution, or maybe accumulation, and then manipulation. So now if we zoom out into the days, Monday looks to be a reversal day because last week was quite bearish. So Monday was a reversal day. I do consider that today we did take the lows of yesterday and the highs. So if you look at the end of the day, we did end the day with a weekly cycle bearish sequential SMT. So maybe we can come back into the range before the next leg up. And if we look at weekly targets, so this is the weekly cycle bearish SMT. If we look at weekly targets, we have if we are indeed making this, and then potentially we could stay bullish by taking, say, like a 50% retracement and then going back up to do distribution tomorrow. So now what is tomorrow? Let's see what is the news tomorrow. If we go to Forex Factory, we have job postings. So if these come out to look good, then that makes sense to do a small pullback and then distribution. I'm not sure if we are going to have either the bullish or bearish target this week. This week is a blank week, so that means it's not Q1 through Q4. It's none of the quarterly theory quarters. It's a blank week. So honestly, I was thinking we could potentially hit both sides of the defining range this week, but who knows? I'm playing it by ear because it's a blank week. I don't think I have a very clear direction right now. I would consider myself bullish, and if we got a 50% retracement and that push back up, I might just look for longs to target the week's defining range. But that's it. That's my review and my focus on quarterly theories defining range for today. I think it did quite good on hitting both sides of the targets. And if you want to follow me on X, I'll post about the defining range and you can ask me any questions you have. I was just posting on it today, just saying, like, how's it doing? Because I think it did quite well. And then overnight, gold hit the week's target already, which is quite early in the week. And I wrote here that it's hitting the bullish target very early. When it happens, I'd say better than a coin flip that we reverse. And it ended up being bearish right after hitting the week's defining range. It ended up recovering quite a bit. It did, excuse me, I was just coughing off mic. It didn't make a higher high. This ended up being the high for the day. So the defining range is quite good on gold, on the indexes, and also crypto. So try it on all of it. And if you need access to this indicator, check out my bio and you can get access to it through my WAP. You can try it out for 2 months for free with the coupon code TRY_PSP. And I'll put that coupon code in the comments below. Hey, thanks for watching.